All right. So
It's making me install it.
Yeah, you have to install it.
you don't have to. You didn't.
I had to.
It worked before you had installed.
Well, I'm here.
There's Brienne.
It says, here's one of the audio.
All right, Tanner. There we go. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So today, what's going to be introduced is what's called multivariable functions. And so we're combining direct and inverse variation. All right. So with direct and inverse variation, the big thing is that we look at these piece by piece. So variables A and C, would that be inverse or direct? Can you not see it?
I can see. Okay, I got it. And it asked me a bunch of questions.
What do you guys think? A and C, would that be inverse or direct?
That'd be direct.
It'd be direct. See how we have multiplication?
Mm-hmm.
So now let's think. Ignore the C and pretend it's just K over D. A and D would be inverse or direct.
It'd be inverse.
It'd be inverse because we have a variable in the denominator. Remember, K is just a constant. It's not meaning to be anything. It'll be a number, yeah. Another thing. So that's kind of just preparing you for what the overall concept is. You'll see things like let me get the write C as a function. You still see?
Yeah.
Of K, A, and D. And that's ultimately just a really fancy way of saying solve for C. Okay, so C has to be on this side instead of A. All right, so I'm going to copy this down so that we have the original still there. All right, so if I'm wanting to get C by itself, I got to start moving everything else to the other side, every other variable and constant to the other side. So how do I move this D?
Multiply it by D.
Multiply it by D, okay. So on the right, my D's cancel out. So I have D times A on this side. I'm going to rewrite it, and that's something I really suggest that all young mathematicians do, because when you try and do too much in your head, you're going to screw up. I'm sorry. So now I want to get C by itself still. How do I get rid of K?
You have to
Divide by K. All right, so now I have C equals
Isn't that just your answer then?
times A over K. Yeah, that is your answer. All right, so now I'm going to say write D as a function of A, K, and C. So I'm going to copy this problem down. A equals K times C over D. So now I want your help.
What did you do?
Multiply by C, right?
All right, so I understand why you're thinking that because we multiplied by D this time, right?
No, you still multiply.
We still multiply by D because it's still divided by D. Okay? One key thing about solving, you can't solve for a variable when it's in the denominator. Okay? So once again, we do still multiply by D.
Couldn't you like multiply the numerator too?
All at once?
No, like for the first step, like how you multiplied the denominator, like
Your first step, you could divide by K first if you wanted.
like in the fraction, like A equals K times C divided. Like instead of multiplying the D, couldn't you multiply the C instead?
So if I multiply by C, I would just get C times C, which is C squared.
Oh.
So that's making it more complex as opposed to less complex. All right, so now I'm going to write the problem down once again. And I want to solve for D. So all of a sudden, I have to eliminate everything else on this side. So how do I?
Could you divide by A and have it D equals?
You certainly could. Divide by A, divide by A.
sides?
So now D equals K times C divided by A.
So that's the answer then?
Okay, you want a third one?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to write K as a function of A, C, and D.
So I use A, C, and D instead of like A, B, C.
Well, I don't know. I just forgot to write B. It's a quirk of mine. Sometimes I'll just use random letters.
So,
Random letters.
I should have used just ACDC, right?
yeah.
All right, we want to get K.
Could you divide by K and then, or divide by K on both sides?
Okay.
So then you don't have to deal with the C over D.
Now, I like the thought because you're thinking, okay, I can move it to the other side. Now I only have A on the other side, right?
Yeah.
The big thing is now then K would be in the denominator.
Oh,
And then you can't solve for a variable when it's in the denominator with basically you're making it more complex is the thing. Okay, so I want to get K by itself. So let's get rid of C and D then. So how do I get rid of those?
multiply
Multiply by
C.
its division of D.
Oh, multiply by D.
Because remember, multiplying by C would mean it's
Yeah.
C squared. Okay, so my D's cancel out. All right, so now I have D times A equals K times C.
Then divide by C on both sides.
Divide by C on both sides.
D times A divided by C equals K.
D times A divided by C equals K. Wonderful. All right, I'm going to stop the recording there.
With those like face cams, you can see like what kids are like not paying attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you guys look, can you see this message? This chat?
Mm-hmm.
So if Tanner wanted to, he could type out a question, and if he wasn't wanting to interrupt class, obviously when it's just two of us, or three of us, sorry, it doesn't matter. But
Wait, so like if you record, can't you see everybody's face?
oh, sweet. And I can allow it.
Yeah, you can make it so you can only message the teacher.
Yep, I can make it so I can only message the teacher. Man, that's awesome.
Question.
So no one feels like it's a stupid question. That's right.
So if like you record this and you put it on YouTube, could you see like everybody who's watching?
You'd only see my face as I'm the only one talking, I think.
No, like if you put it on YouTube.
So you could hear your question.
No, like if you had this, would it be like this on YouTube if you saw everybody's